So just so you know, a little heads up, I'm not gonna be doing no formal podcast anymore.
Yeah.
I really just like an open conversation.
Same,
like,
bro.
but I do obviously want you to introduce yourself and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So let the people know who you are.
Yeah, man. My name's Graffiti. At That's Graffiti on all social media and all that good stuff. I am a multimedia guru. I think,
right.
I've been trying to, I always get lost on explaining what I do or like my title because I do so many different things. And I think I landed on multimedia guru.
I like that.
Yeah, man. So, producer, digital producer, radio host, podcast host, visual designer, just the good stuff.
Damn, you do a lot.
A lot, bro. I'm trying to like narrow that down a little bit, but I do a lot, man.
Yeah, and you do that. Tell them who you do that for and where you work at.
Yeah, so I've done it independently for years, man. A lot of people know. I started out actually as a producer, beat maker, just making beats for the homies. That turned into graphic designing. I was kind of the flyer guy for the whole Colorado. All the promoters, DJs, all the homies came to me for flyer work. I've always had an interest in radio. Like that was just my dream, just being on the radio, doing the thing. That turned into me doing online radio, did actual radio. I, named the radio station in the city. I had some type of hand in that.
Oh, fire.
And then that just turned into me just independently podcasting, bro. So me and my guy Julius, shout out to producer Julius, we started the Plug Agency, podcast agency, just creating a network. Essentially, I know you get that. You know, like, yo, we got these dope creators, these dope ideas. Let's start doing it. From that, we created Life is Dope, which was a podcast with me and my guy Davey, well-known producer in the city. Shouts to my guy Davey. And I've just been podcasting, bro. Like, and this was about 08, 09 when I really started to dig into podcasting.
That's crazy. That's when I graduated high school.
Man, but like back then it was just online radio. Like it wasn't the concept of what we know now as podcasting. So went down that rabbit hole, still dibbled and dabbled in radio, but like I got lost in the sauce of being a graphic designer for so long. It kind of took me away from so many other things. Like I said, I started with beat making and that kind of just fell to the side. And I just became a graphic designer. And I was like, I'm gonna lock into this. I'm making good money. Boom. Wasn't until recently, COVID, I started the Connect podcast, the Connect with Graffiti. That was just my first one-on-one me, like no co-host, doing what we're doing right now.
That's how I discovered you.
Yeah,
I discovered you because I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I discovered you because Tiff and Gabby. Damn, Gabby. I'm sorry. I love you, Gabby.
Vibes in the park.
But when they had their episode with you, that's how I discovered you.
Dope, man. That's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
Again, like not to super autobiography everybody, but it's kind of that's where I landed with the Connect. I've always just been good at conversation, just one-on-one. I enjoy it. So that took me some places, opened some doors I didn't expect. Now I'm over at Rocky Mountain Public Media, PBS. So I'm over there and I'm working with Kuvo in the Drop as a digital producer. I have a segment called The Hype where I'm on air just kind of interviewing people in the community about dope things going on.
Fire. And
yeah, dude, and still working with the Plug, still just independent, just moving around, bro.
Damn, I gotta tune more into you. I didn't know you did all that stuff.
It's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's fire though.
Yeah.
How is it working? So you work the location right down the street?
Yeah, it's right up the street.
Yeah, I see that one all the time. I'm like, oh, that's dope. I'm the same way. I appreciate radio. I grew up in New York, so like Hot 97 is like my life. So I understand like the importance of radio and like how that impacts us as young adults and like
even in today's time, man. And I think that's what drew me back to it, because I always say, man, I can't escape music, bro. Like no matter how much media I do and interviews and all that, like I'm just a music head to depth. So like just the energy of being around music and putting people on the new music and all that. And when the Drop came around, it was a whole different vibe. Like we've never had nothing like that in Colorado that, highlights local artists and highlights independent music. And, they're playing like Big Crit and Larry June and music that I'm listening to that we're just not used to. So I'm like, how can I get involved over there for real?
Yeah.
So it's dope, man.
That's dope. And when did they come out here? The Drop?
Drop, I want to say he's been around for, what was this, the 4th year? So going on year 5 officially.
Oh, wow. So they started, I moved out here in 2018. So they started after I moved out here.
Yeah. It's pretty fresh. Everything's evolving. Right now we're trying this urban alternative format. It's good energy, man. Check it out if y'all haven't 104.7 The Drop.
What is it? 1047?
1047.
104.7, y'all.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
drop.
yeah,
FM.
Yeah.
I might have just gave y'all a drop.
Yeah, hey, there you go, bro. And outside of that too, the drop303.org, I'm plugging, but you know, like it's a digital world. So, you know, like everybody's gonna be dialed in on a dial with the drop 303.
No, that's important to me actually. So I don't even mind if you plug in. I understand, like I was saying, the importance of radio, and I feel like as time transitions, and like I seen you post something actually the other day. It was like, is streaming gonna replace radio? Or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, yeah and no. Yeah. Because it's like there's a lane for streaming, but there's also a lane for radio, and I feel like there's so much importance on radio. Maybe you can answer this. When artists come through here for like tour and stuff like that, do they pop through the radio stations, or do they?
So that's actually a complicated question, because they do now and they have before. But you know, before there were staple stations, mainly like KS 175 was the main like hip hop station. Kind of still is. But it's so, trying to word it to not sound like I'm dissing, but like it's Odyssey. It's like corporate ran. It's not like actually in the soil with the people. Whereas the drop, and you know, shout out to Flow 1071, that's where I was before the drop, where you're actually touching down and like we have these relationships. So like Big Crit came through 1047 while he was out here, and like I just know Crit, that's the homie. So it was just like, yo, Crit, can you pull up? Same with Conway. Like we just did the same thing with Finesse Mitchell, the comedian, and these are just direct relationships. And now like we hope to build it to the point where it's like, yo, we're in the city, we got to go rock with the drop. Up until then, there's platforms like this, there's platforms like the Connect. We have so many dope creatives within the city that are doing that. It's just dope to see it like on a mainstream scale, which, you know, I go back and forth with, because as I was telling you off mic, man, I've been independent for so long that I'm kind of already just in the mindset of like, yo, let's do it. And so now trying to grasp the fact that, yo, there is this bigger platform that's down to do it too. Like I'm trying to get my
that's important, I think. I think because like I said, like a lot of this stuff takes work. It takes a lot of finances. Yeah, bro. So if you could have the backing of a company, and I think also having the backing of a company helps you out as an individual, because some people, they won't rock with you unless you got like this cosign or something. You know what I mean? So
and then there's like, that, man. Like that is another benefit of like FM. Like no matter what, if you're around our generation, our age mark, and like, you know, like you said, Hot 97, like it's still ingrained in your mind. Like FM radio is just like that thing. It's just like how, you know, as much as Netflix and all that is popping, like if I was to say, yo, I'm gonna be on ESPN, you're like, yo, you made it to ESPN. Like it's just that staple of the next level of, you know, I'm on an official platform now.
That's how I still view it like that. Like, yo, that's fire. You on the radio, that's fire.
So to your point, bro, like I have these conversations all the time. I talk to other radio hosts, you know, seasoned vets in the game, and it's like, it's all perspective. But, you know, is streaming going to eliminate FM radio? Eventually, probably, but more so from a standpoint of how you're consuming it versus like, you know, like we have Apple CarPlay and we have all these, like the actual platform of how you received it. But I think the benefit of local radio is the curation. Like when you can hear me and you know me face to face, and I'm like, yo, man, it's crazy on 16th Street on the right. You know what I mean? Like that's, you can't get that from Spotify. You can't get that from your aux cord. And as long as that exists, man, radio will be all right.
Yeah. And I like that you do that, because I mean, you're a native from Colorado?
Yeah.
All right. And I learned like a lot of people have this idea of Colorado where they think it's just the mountains or like this outdoor life, but there's so much more to Colorado than the mountains and the outdoor life, which is kind of why I kind of like started my joint, because it was like, yo, I'm from the city. I like street stuff, and I want to highlight like what's going on in the streets out here. Not just like, I appreciate the outdoors, I appreciate the mountains and stuff, but it's like, I'm not gonna be out there every weekend skiing and snowboarding. So.
None of us are, bro. Yeah. And as a native, that's kind of the thing. People like you know, I'm in LA and Atlanta and stuff, and they're like, yo, do you ski? And I'm like, nah, like it's cool. Like I'm not knocking it. That's dope. But there's a whole culture, especially a music, arts, and entertainment culture in Colorado that exists, and it's major to us. You know what I mean? Like it's a big piece of Colorado culture. It's just not really exposed on a national level, and that's really one of my missions, man. It's like, you can be local. I actually love local content, but we need it to be local to the point where it's embraced beyond the state. So like you say, yo, I'm from New York. I have a vision in my mind of what New York is through consuming hip hop and just media. And I'm like, yo, that's New York. Colorado hasn't quite done that yet from a cultural standpoint, besides, you know, like weed, beer, and mountains.
That's
and
facts.
And sports.
And sports, yep.
Yeah.
That's true. There was what's the big rapper's name that came out of here? He signed to Cash Money?
Trev
Rich. Yeah, shout out to Trev Rich. That's one artist I know from out here. See? But I don't even be tapped in. To be honest, I don't think I'm tapped in with like modern music anymore. Like all I listen to is like Dilla, Madlib.
I'm the same, bro.
Yeah, so it's like, forgive me, whoever, but I'm just not tapped in. But if you came up to me and was like, yo, check this out, whatever, I'm gonna check it out. Yeah. But I'm in a zone because like I make music. So it's like
I'm the same way, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know the artist because I know the artist, or like I'm in the scene and like I know, but like I have to keep it real, people. Like, bro, I'm probably not really listening to your music like that because I'm just, like you said, I'm in the zone. I have what I like, and I kind of just stick to that.
Yeah, makes sense. I got a question. How did you used to like write or paint?
Yeah, you said how I got my name?
Yeah.
So I've always just doodled on stuff, bro. I actually did actual graffiti, and you know, people just started calling me that in high school because I would draw on stuff, and you know, it's graffiti, yo, like if they ain't know my name, like that's the dude that does graffiti, and I do actual art. I'm a graphic designer. I'm an artist, and so it just kind of stuck, and I'm like, that's dope, bro.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Funny story. I used to write sekular around town, and then I was like, that might not be good for my brand.
Yeah, you got to tone it down now, right?
I toned that way down. I was like,
that name was given to me, so you know I hold it with pride.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
All right, so give me what are some things, like, it's 2025.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I was funny. I was talking to my mans recently, and they're like, yo, when I watch podcasts and stuff, like, I don't want to know what inspires people anymore and stuff. So I've been like just taking feedback from people and just trying to, like I said, just trying to have regular convo. So we in a new era, we in a new year.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people start out the year with like goals or, you know, this is my year and stuff. What's something you want to nail down this year?
Nail down. I have like the tangible, like actual goal list of like, these are things I want to do. Like one thing is like, one of the reasons I'm admiring your setup so much is because like over all these years, I still haven't had like my own studio. So that's a big goal for me, just a creative space where I can work. Like I've had partner spaces and like, you know, that type of situation, but I just never had like my own spot to just go do my thing. So that is a goal. And then there's little stuff like that. But beyond that, bro, I think for 2025, one of my biggest things is just like leaning into who I am for real. I've always been a very humble person, you know, like even with my shows, like it's never about me. It's about the conversation. It's about the guests. It's about the culture, the community, empowerment of my people. And up until recently, I just really sat back like, yo, like I do a lot, and I've put a lot of hours and a lot of effort and a lot of passion into a lot of different things. And I should own that because, you know, I have a hard time in accepting compliments or like people like, yo, that's great, and they're gassing me up. And in my mind, I'm just like, bro, like I'm just doing the work. You know what I mean? I'm just
facts.
This is for the culture, bro. And I've never really taken the time to be like, you know what, you're dope, bro. As much as I say it, and that's my brand and all that, like I need to start owning that, and that's something I'm trying to work on much more this year. It's just, you know, man in the garden mentality, bro. straight like that.
Nah, you are dope though, bro. I had, like I said, I haven't even looked at a lot of your stuff, but I was even looking at your YouTube file, and I was like, man, he just got money waiting there for him.
Which is crazy, yo, because like I still, I don't put as much effort into things like that as I should. Like I know my background is in branding and marketing. I know how to do that for other people because I've done it for so long. But when it comes to myself, I kind of back burner it. Like people like, yo, damn, like how did you get XYZ following on YouTube? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I've built relationships and I've done the work up until this point to build that following, but I never look at it like, yo, I should really dial in. And that's what I'm going to do this year.
Fire. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you get.
Yeah, my throat is just.
I put my shit on Do Not Disturb, so that must be. It's my daughter. My bad, bro.
She don't say you're bad, bro. It's life. That's real. I know when people be like, when I talk with people and sit down with people, because what I did this last year, I don't know, from the stuff you saw, I was doing the Let's Me show, and that was just like it was like the Vlad style, like I'm behind the camera, they're there, one camera, and I was doing that for a while. And I really loved it, actually. I was recently looking at like the intros, but anyways, long story short, I took a step back.
Yep.
And I had to just recalibrate and calculate. And then I made this setup where I could like do a full thing, and I like racked up on some episodes.
Yeah.
So that way I could start the year out fresh.
Nice.
But what I want to ask you is it's way completely different from that. But like how do you balance it? Because I know you got all this work you just told me. You married, right?
Yeah.
And you got kids.
Yeah.
Like how do you balance that?
It's hard. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. Like, you know, it's just easy to do. It's not. My full-time job is a dad. Like that's priority over everything. Like literally, like my phone's buzzing in my pocket because you know the kids wanting to know like what am I bringing home for dinner. So like it's a juggle, man, and I don't have an exact answer on how I do it. I do it because, for one, it's passion. Like a lot of what I do is passion driven. Like I said, I love music. I love culture. I love empowering my people. So I just do it naturally. And it's just a lot of self-awareness, knowledge of self. That could be a whole different conversation, a whole different episode. But you know, just being tapped in with who you are, on a spiritual level, on an energetic level. I know from facing burnout when I'm about to approach burnout. So I'm better at checking in with myself and slowing down. Better at telling myself no, and just health, man. Like making sure you have the energy and the well-being to do the work. Because if you're not good, like the work ain't good, and it's for what, you know?
Have you ever recorded in your crib? I think I saw they shoot an episode.
Yeah, I did so that one was was
that in your crib?
No, that was at a shop. It was at my guy's shop off of Kovacs, but I did the whole first season of The Connect at the crib. A lot of people don't realize there was no video for that whole first season because I was just doing it at the crib, like literally in the basement.
Just doing audio?
Audio, because it was COVID and all that. We were just doing Zoom and all that. But yeah, bro, I've always kind of bounced around setup-wise doing The Connect, and then I landed at 107.1 when I was working there, and I just had a little spot in the back where I was doing it. So yeah.
Are you able to, where I was getting at with all that, with the whole kids, family, everything, do you think you would be able to have a setup in your crib?
No. So that's why it's a big goal to get a studio. I mean, I got an office at the crib, but it's not the same, man. Like I can't really get in my work bag at home like that. It just feels like, you know, I'm at home and the kids are like, man, fuck what you're doing right now, I wanted to get so I get that. Like I wanted to have a studio. Yeah. But then am I bringing in bread from it? Yep. Overhead costs. Then there was where I was getting at too, where I stopped the Let's Me show, was like I had people lined up, but then it was like, damn, this is my crib. Some of the people I didn't really know or like I was comfortable with. So that's another reason why I took a step back, because it's just like I just don't want to have anybody in my crib. Exactly, man. Because it's like I don't know who you know. You might be watching me. You might be playing. I'm from New York. I'm just used to people scheming. You know what I mean? Yo. I get it. There's never gonna be a guest at my house on the show. You know what I mean? And just to give you your flowers real quick, bro, that is how I discovered Sekular. Is I seen the Let's Meet show. Fire. And I was like, man, the branding, the look, the color grading, like I could tell you get it.
Thank you.
And I always do this on accident, as I end up interviewing too. But I do have a question for you.
No, of course, like, bro. This is a free, open conversation.
Yeah, is exactly about that. So going into the landscape of media, podcasting, interviewing in 2025. I've been restructuring how I'm going to come back with The Connect. I went on a little bit of hiatus while I get work and stuff situated, but I'm leaning away from the traditional podcast mindset of things. And I feel like the industry is, to more of the like streamed, relaxed conversation. I just want to get your thoughts on like how you feel about.
I agree 100% with you. I agree. So I have all this and I want to, I don't know if I want to do podcasts. I think more or less, like I want to have conversations. Like if I meet someone out here and I think you're dope and you're doing fire stuff, like, yo, let's just sit down and talk and record it. Because sometimes like if things are too structured or whatever, it just seems like kind of corny or cheesy. It's like you just doing the gimmick. Yeah. But if we just sit down, have a regular conversation, you never know what might come out that conversation that we could clip up and it might do something. Yeah.
And I think I fell into a repetitive loop mentally where it's like, yo, all right, we book the guests, we record, we edit, we do a new episode, tune in. And I think even as a consumer, I'm checked out of that type of content. It's like, yo, I'll catch the clips on Instagram or whatever. But as a podcast fan, I listen to like stories and like narrative, like audio journeys. So that is kind of what I want to get more into. But as far as just interview conversations, I think this is dope because I'm like, when I'm doing interviews, man, I've like been like, it's too interviewee, and I don't even want to watch those no more. So like, why am I doing that?
That's feedback I got from my brothers in New York. Honestly, they were like, "Yo, like honestly, I just don't want to watch like that interviewee stuff with."
It's everywhere, yo.
Yeah.
And now you got every celebrity doing it. It's just like anybody with a phone or device can have a podcast, and podcasting has almost become like a dirty word. Like my partner Julius at the Plug hates that because it's like that's our business. But I know you feel me. It's just like, yo, I'm a podcaster. It's like everybody's a podcaster.
And I don't want to do the like I like podcasts like I watch the Joe Budden podcast faithfully, but like I'm not the kind of person. I don't want to sit down and talk about trending topics or things like that. I don't see myself really doing that either. So I agree with you. Like I'm also in the place of like trying to navigate what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, and like I said, if I meet someone, cool. But I want to just do that. I want to also stream once a week.
Yeah.
Because that for me, I'll give you a little background quick since it's just open conversation.
Yeah.
I've had like my hard drive crash, bro, mad times. So I've lost mad beats and things I would just sit on like, oh, if I just get the chance to put this on this or we'll meet this person. And then like, you never know if that's going to happen or not. And then I lost mad beats. So I figured with streaming, if I just make a beat live and then I'll at least have a backlog of it and you got to see it there and at least it's out. I don't got to worry about putting it out or anything.
That's brilliant. Also, man, like I've checked you out making beats, fire for one. But how you feel about that too? Just like music right now, because
I'm over everything.
Yeah, I thought it was me. So like, I watch, like I know you got like selection playing in the background, and like I watch and consume this type of content of like, you know, shout out to like La Russell or like somebody that is a content creator, but the music is the content. I might not ever actually go stream that music, and I was like, am I bugging? Like I will watch somebody sit here and make a beat, whatever, but they're like, yo, this new song dropped. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'd rather see you make the beat.
Yep.
It's a weird time.
You know what's so funny? He dropped a clip today, La Russell.
Yeah.
And the clip said, like, yo, music is not my only thing.
Yeah.
It's not what I want to be the forefront. That's why I guess he does conversations and talks. He goes, because some people, they might just hear something I said on a podcast or something, and they might really rock with that, but they might not go check out my music.
Dude. I know people have specifically told me, like people that rock with me tough, they'll come to my events, like they'll buy my gear, all that. They're like, bro, I never listened to your podcast. Like I seen the clips and all that. Like I just, you know, and I'm like, trust, I get it, bro. Like, it's very hard. Our attention spans and just the way media is just boom, boom, boom. But it puts us media creators in a weird space because it's like, you know, well, what do you want now? Nah,
but in honesty, how we could look at it, bro, we got to do more shit together. Yeah. Because we on the same page.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're just got to be tastemakers in the city.
That's what it is.
And like, we just got to be out here. Like, no one might really do this, but if they see the clip and we putting out clips and shaking and moving, they might just be like, oh, yeah, you out here shaking and moving. And I just feel like that's what's more important. Like being outside, like they say in the street, you know, touching hands, kissing babies, shaking hands, kissing babies.
1000%. And that's another thing that I'm big on, bro. Like a lot of why people rock with me is because I'm literally outside.
It's important.
And I have been for years. And so, you know, my guy Saif and Way, shouts to Colorado-based artist Way, World of Way. They got a song called Internet Crash. And they're basically talking about like, I'm just waiting for the internet to crash. Like, let's get back to real life. Like, what are we going to do when we have to go back to real life? And I've kind of just been in that mindset of like, yo, I'm burnt out on so many different things. These things we're talking about, like just consumption. Like, I'm outside, bro. Like, I don't have, before it was, I had all these aspirations to, you know, have this huge platform in this boom, boom, boom. And it's like, everybody can do that now. But not everybody can just get you to be like, yo, pull up on me outside.
That's true.
In person. Let's interact in person. Let's do what we're doing right here, face to face. And I want that, man. I want that back for the culture.
And that's one thing I appreciate. Like, that might even be more so. Like the fact that you can go outside, even just having a little camera and document that. People love that. Like the IRL streams, like when people are outside with the stream, they love that because it's like a lot of people, like you said, they can't they can't or they don't want to or they scared. Maybe they're introverted or whatever. But like I don't mind being outside. Like I'm from the streets. I'll be outside. I'm not scared to go anywhere.
Yeah.
If I feel uncomfortable, I know when to move and where not to move. But I'm not scared to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's important. I think you head in the right direction, bro.
It's important, man. And you know, like watching what you're doing, and I really admire what you're doing, man, because I've been in this space for so long, and I hit so many peaks and valleys and stuff, and I was really analyzing myself, like, man, am I jaded? Like, do I need to move on? Is it the industry? I'm just watching stuff, bro, and then like I'll look at like Akai Sanat and be like, man, I just dropped $3,000 on equipment and bros in the back of a U-Haul truck just having fun. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, let's get back to just having fun. We get caught up in vanity metrics of numbers and who's viewing and the algorithms and impressions and like, yo, this ain't bringing no bread. And it's just like, but is it fun? You know, do it because it's fun. Like you make beats because you love making beats. Facts. You know what I mean? So,
and I've been doing that. This all became like, we could touch into that now. Like I've made beats since I was maybe like 14. Yeah. Even before that, 12. So almost 20 years. And I got into a point where I want people to know this too. Like I do things out of love now. Like I'm so invested in doing it for love. I'm not doing it for the money. Like I got a job. I don't mind my second job. I will go work because that's all I've known is work invested in my craft, invested in my craft. So I'm going to always make beats, but I agree with you. You touched on something earlier. Like there's also an oversaturation. I thought that red light wasn't on. There's also an oversaturation. It's because the mic thing was covering it. There's an oversaturation of everything, to be honest with you. There's oversaturation of people making beats. There's an oversaturation of podcasts. There's an oversaturation of graphic designers. There's an oversaturation of mad things. So it's just like, that's when you really know, are you in it for the love of it? You know what I mean? Like,
and what's interesting is that ends up bringing the money, and that's what I'm realizing. And you know, like I said before, I worked independently for so long. Now that I have like an actual job and like I can do this type of stuff without worrying about if I can pay the bills, because that's where a lot of creatives get stuck. It's like, yo, I want to be a creative. I want this to be my main bread and butter. But like, bro, there's no money in it. And I will sit when somebody's like, yo, I want to start a podcast. Let's have a consultation. I'm like, bet. We book it. We talk through. My first question is why? Like, why do you want to start a podcast? Oh, well, blah, blah. And I watched Joe Budden and he just got the bag from Spotify. And it's like, you're not Joe Budden. Like, not to knock your dreams, but the industry has changed drastically. That's not to say we can't help you make money off of podcasting. I do have sponsors. I make money as well. But it's like, if that's your main goal is monetization, you lost already because you skip mad steps.
And you also missed all the work Joe Budden put in before he got that
to become Joe Budden. So I always say, man, podcast and media in general is just an extension of your personal brand. Man. If like whatever you do naturally or whatever people like about you, if you can package that and move it as a product, dope. But if you're intentionally trying to push something to make $1 off of it, we could tell now, man, it's a whole new game. Like the curtain is open. We can see when something's being you know, pushed on us versus like naturally you just make beats and they're fire and we're watching you make beats and that's going to accumulate into something that's really making you some money. Whereas, you know, the 2000s is like, yo, I'm about to place this beat and get on. Now it's like, no, bro's at his crib making beats and we're watching it and now he's getting sponsorship. It's dope, man.
Yeah, and then that you're onto something, because that also, you being consistent, making the beats, putting the videos on, not thinking about all that eventually comes. Next thing you know, such and such saw you making this beat. Now they are like, oh, yo, let's go with that beat. But you can't just be, you got to put in the work. I think at the end of the day is you have to put in the work. And that's why I don't mind working though, because it's like, I don't want to sacrifice my art or like feel like I have to, one would be like, I don't want to feel like I have to record people to bring in bread, or I don't want to feel like I have to, like I went to school for audio engineering, and the first thing I remember when we got out of there was like, oh, you can go be an assistant engineer and make this amount of money. I was like, yo, I make more working for Coach, like the handbag store, than I would do doing this. And then I would have to sit there and listen to this whack music that I don't like all day. That's why I don't like shooting videos for people. Because it's like, and you were touching on something too. I be scatterbrained, but like the consultations and stuff, like you'll meet with people and you give them a breakdown, but then they don't understand the work and the energy and the effort, so they don't understand the cost that comes with this stuff.
You're paying for the time, man.
I
say that, I always said that as a graphic designer. It's like, yo, I get that you like my style and you like the turnaround and all that, but my price isn't my price because I'm making a dope piece of art. Like, you're literally paying for the time it's taking me and the time it took me to get to this point to be able to do it that quick.
Facts.
So when you're saying, yo, I need something real quick, and I could turn it around real quick, I can only do that because it took me 10 years to learn how to do that. And it's about to take me a chunk of time out of my day to do that for you. So yeah, man, it's just an interesting landscape right now, bro.
It's tough. It's like everybody want to be, I guess everything's art in a way, but like everybody want to be a creative now. And it's just like, there's so much work that comes with it.
Yeah, you can tell who's about that life though. Like it just comes through naturally. And again, like people gravitate towards what's real, man. And I think that's the era we're in now. It's like we see AI and we see bots and we see algorithms and we see like this whole concept of celebrity starting to fade. And it's not, yo, I need to get a record deal and blow up. It's, yo, like I'm about to just open my IG and show y'all what I'm doing today. And if you like the music, dope, go check out the music.
Facts.
And we're going to check it out because it's authentic. And it just puts you in a different space. As a professional in the digital production and podcasting world, it puts me in a weird space because that was a chunk of my bread for a while. And it's like, well, you can just do this at home now. But it's also differentiating what type of content is being made. Because again, if you say, yo, I want to make XYZ documentary style podcast, and we're going to need sound design, and we're going to need like journalism and all that, there's a huge lane for that still.
Facts.
That's literally what podcasting is right now. Like, that's the stories that are being bought, the networks and all that. But if it's just like, yo, I'm gonna interview people, or yo, we're gonna talk about the culture, or yo, people just need my opinion, it's like, do they, bro? Or like, do you want to just get that off? Because that's cool too. Like, but use that as that, you know what I mean?
There's something else you touched on. When I was doing the Let's Meet show, I almost had the whole year lined up. I ain't gonna kid you. But then I started realizing too, like I was looking at some of the people who want to do it, and it was like, you're not really shaking and moving. You just want to be on it because of the look of you being on a podcast, when really you don't have no substance. You know what I mean?
That's twofold too, though, because I fell into that pocket. I've been interviewing people for so long. I fell into that pocket where, for one, I'll always be like, yo, what's next? Like once I really started getting big names and celebrities and stuff, like I don't know, bro. It sounds crazy. Like, my bad. Like, I'm not trying to stunt or nothing like that. But I got to the point where I was kind of like, all right, like, that's kind of whack now. Like, it feels cloudy after a while. Like, oh, I have to have this person with a big following to move my platform forward. Or like, yo, everybody wants to be on, and now I got to vet through like who I consider to be really doing it or who's worthy. And it's just like, nah, like, let's just have a conversation. And so that's what kind of deterred me from, to connect for a little bit. It's like, all right, man, I'm sitting here having interviews every day. I'm getting people calling me. Like, it got to a point where like I interviewed the mayor, and it's because they called me. Like, yo, we seen that you have like the biggest, blah, blah, blah platform. Like, and I'm like, this is fire. But it was kind of like, that's literally like the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Like, that's not authentic, So it puts you in a weird space, and that's why I respect what you're doing, man. Because like, I'd rather just like, yo, pull up and let's just chop it.
Yeah, that the reason why I wanted you to come up here is because I see how you're tapped into the city, and to me that's important. Like for me, if I'm out here trying to like see who's doing what, and I'm not from this city, you know what I mean? So it's important to me to tap in with the people who are shaking the movement, because I don't want to be stepping on no one's toes, and like I want to like show people respect, you know what I mean? And like that's what's important to me. So for me, it was like, I'm sure I could learn so much from you, because you out here actually moving, like this is your city, you know what I mean? Like,
and I respect that perspective too, because that's that's how I am whenever I'm in a different city. But that's how it should be, just culturally, because what happens is, people will come in, especially now, they see Denver as like a hot plate for a lot of different things, and they'll come here and they'll try to recreate culture from their city here, and then wonder why it doesn't work. And then like they'll talk down on the city, like, oh man, well in Houston we do blah blah blah, and if this was LA we'd be doing blah blah. But it's like, it's not, bro. It's Denver. Like, we have our own vibe, and if you're willing to kind of learn it and just move around, like you could bring your vibe to it. As soon as you say you're from New York, I'm like, bet, bro. Like, it's certain energies, for one, just being from the hood. Like, it just is what it is.
You know what it is, yep.
But like, when you're willing to learn the culture of where you are, adapt to it, and then kind of put your own sauce on it, versus just coming in, kind of like colonizing the situation.
Facts.
Like, nah, we about to get this popping like we do in New York. Then the energy isn't received. It's like, nah, bro, we'll go back to New York with that. Like,
Facts.
But if you're just like, nah, who's moving in the city? Let's lock in. We're more than willing to do that because we need that too. Like, we need different energies. Like,
Facts.
The circle of creatives, we have a very vast and growing community of creatives in Colorado, but they're still like kind of just like us core people that kind of just, you're gonna see us around each other all the time. That gets old after a while because ideas start to like kind of just reflect each other and mirror each other. It's like we need that new energy in the city without y'all trying to like take the city from us.
Bro, it took me like I said, I moved out here in 2018. Yeah. And like I just felt comfortable last year. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let me see if I can put myself out there a little bit because I've been out here. I was here during COVID. I've seen people leave, come, and I still see people leaving and coming. It's like, nah, I'm invested here. I've spent 6 years here. I love my city in New York. I go back, but it's like New York's changed a lot. And even what I'm familiar with in New York, like my family and friends, we've all grown in different ways. And it's like, yo, I've actually built something out here that's kind of, this is like my dream, you know what I mean? And it's like, why not just invest that and give back to the city from like, cause you know, like I know how to do audio stuff, video stuff. And it's like, let me just use that as a way to build with the city and help build the city up. Yeah. And that's what we got to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Build with the city. You know, we've seen too many times, man, where it's that gatekeeper mentality of, yo, we're going to come in, we're going to make a killing. Especially like once weed became legal and all that, it's just like you start seeing more and more celebrities. And it's just like, yo, y'all are in the city, but like, what are you really giving back? Or like, how are you, you know, it's artists here all the time. And you're not, I'm not saying you should like check in or nothing like that, but like you're not tapping in with like the other artists in the city. Like, let's create an ecosystem, and it's starting with the creatives. Like I can't speak too much for like the rappers and like the politics and that, but like if you do video work, I do audio work, or you know, I'm a podcaster, I'm a blah blah blah, let's tap in with each other and let's build together. You know?
I tried doing that with some of the, by the way, there's a good graffiti scene out here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the graffiti scene out here.
The arts culture period is crazy.
I agree, the arts too. But when I was painting, I would just be out late night, every night in the alleys going through, and I would just see so many, you know, you see familiar names if you see a lot of names, same places, like, you out here. Yeah. If someone's visiting, you're not going to be up everywhere. But yeah, there's some good artists. I try connecting with some of them, but I could get why they be like, I don't know, you gonna get me locked up.
That scene is different, yo. Like, even when you like, you right, it's like that unwritten code. Like, do you right, bro? Like, why you asking? But yeah. But there are a lot of subcultures within the culture here that just like, unless you tap in with them, man, you never know. There's a fashion scene, you know, like I said, there's arts in general. There's like the photography scene. There's like the hip hop scene, the R&B scene. And it's not that, yo, we don't rock with you. It's just that sometimes people don't know how to intertwine like that. And I think that's the dope part of what we do, because I would just be like, yo, this person's doing something cool over here. This section of Denver probably has no idea who this is, but they're popping over here. Let's have a conversation. So like how you were like, yo, I seen you through the Vibes in the Park interview, like those type of like, you know, the synergy with that. We just gotta keep that going, bro.
How was that scene that come up in the city? How they curated?
Oh man, I love it. I call them like, they're pioneers of what I like to call the new Denver, because I come from being like the young flyer guy with like the OG promoters when gatekeeping was heavy, especially like within promotions and hip hop and DJs. It's like, yo, you can't move without so-and-so's approval, or, you know, it's cutthroat. Bro. It was just the scene. It was the culture back then. But then you get like Vibes in the Park and like Munchies and Mimosas, my guys with Popcorn and Jalapenos, and they do these things that are just so culturally crafted that you have to rock with it. You're like, yo, y'all are in the park playing music? Like, what? And then it just grows organically, and you can't deny that. Yo, it's like we've shaped a scene where it's like, you know, shouts to like Keys, Community Keys, where it's like, yo, that's dead. We're not.
That's the shorty who highlights what's be going on in the city, right?
We're not holding resources. We're not. That's dead. And then you see it physically when it's like you're out. You're like, damn, this is popping. Like, people are flying out here to come hang out in the park, or people are flying out here to have brunch at Munchies and Mimosas. Facts. And then everybody's like, yo, how can I contribute? And you're watching it, and it's a beautiful thing, bro. So I call that like the new Denver, because that wasn't a thing before.
Yeah, how I I don't know who put me on the vibes, but I would see it and I was like, I gotta make it. And then one time I just pulled up with the camera and I was like, yo, who running this? And then they directed me to Gabby and Tiff. And I was like, yo, I do videos. I'm gonna just, shoot this video for y'all and I'll cook it up and show y'all what I do. And then I did that for them. And the importance was, I learned this in life. If you shoot an event and you could have that turner, you could have the video out by the next morning. And I did that both times with the Vibes in the Parks videos. And they go crazy. The videos just go crazy. It's like, yo, how you got that out already?
Yeah.
But that's me. I literally both times I called out of work the next day. Yeah. But it was for the city. I had to do it. I had to do it because I loved that energy and vibe. Like when I saw Vibes, I was like, damn, this is like a little bit of home that I haven't really been seeing out here. So I was like, I gotta pull up. And then when I pulled up, I just fell in love with it. It was just so much culture there. It's like all I known growing up was what I saw at Vibes. And I was like, this is out here.
You said it though, like the little bit of home. It's like a little bit of home for everybody. And I think it's just because it's culture. You know what I mean? Like you can't deny certain things. Like you can't, every hood can relate to being in the park, play the food, music, vibing,
kids playing around,
kicking it. Like that's just something that's just culturally ingrained in all of us. So when you get a Vibes or anything in that realm, because they're big right now, but there's a lot of other situations blooming. It's like you got to respect that and you have to protect and you have to support those things. So when you get like Keese and she's doing dope black spaces to be in and everybody's like, yo, like I look at that personally. Like I thought I was tapped in, but like if this is going on over here, let me go check them out. We're building something that can't be duplicated, and it's culture, dog.
Facts. Are you familiar with I'm sure you are, but what's going on with green spaces and like that whole movement over there?
Shouts to Javon, green spaces. So again, man, like it's one of those things. It's like you say names or you say a thing, and somebody knows somebody. That is the beauty of Denver. It's small, but like it's blooming, and we got a lot of outsiders coming in. But like there's like key pillars in each community where you say a name and they're like, yeah, I know, bro.
I've seen him. I've come across him. Never like formally introduced to him, but I know of him because of Kimberly. Yeah. And then just being around like all those people, like because that's a whole other like you're familiar with the Coco event group? Like so there's like a lot of things going on in the city right now.
And like Green Spaces is dope because it's like one of those hubs that kind of house all of those. So like Black and Blossomed, Migos Coffee, like everybody's kind of in there. So there's those little pockets in the city where it's like if you need to meet XYZ in the culture, like you should probably pull up over here.
Yeah. And Idolize and Endurance Run Club, they be doing stuff over there. I know you know Chris, right?
That's my guy.
Yeah, he told me like y'all known each other for mad long.
Yeah, that's my dog Chris. Yeah, Chris Styles. Yeah, man. But again, and I love that, man. Like I made a post a while back, like a few weeks back, about how something along the lines of like, don't believe what people are saying. Like we actually do rock with each other in Denver because there's always, it's like clockwork. There's always the city is blah blah. When we gonna come together? Like we gotta move as a unit. And it's like I can't speak from that lens because I'm looking at it where it's like, yo, I'm rocking Be a Good Person. Like those is the homies. And if they weren't the homies, like I know them. I'm seeing them moving in the city. I'm seeing this brand. I'm like, I want to get behind that. And then you look at as a whole. And that's happening everywhere. Like you're saying, yo, Javon at Green Spaces. And I'm like, yeah, so-and-so's business is over there. And then so-and-so over there be like, yeah, but I run with Chris. And yeah. It's like all intertwined and we all rock. So I'm like, if you're not intertwined in culture, I don't know what to tell you, man. That might be you.
It took me a while, to be honest. I was one of those people, if I'm being vulnerable, like I couldn't find my place here at first. Yeah. It took me a while to find my place, and I would get discouraged by other cultures out here and how they move and stuff. But I told myself going forward, like I'm just gonna be me, genuinely just be who I am and move. If you rock with me, cool. If you don't rock with me, cool. I don't feel no way towards you. But I'm just gonna be out here. But once I started getting in the exact scene and culture you're talking about, that's when I just started feeling love and moving around, and like now I could see there's a place for us out here. You know what I mean?
Some good energy, man. And you were bold enough to step into that, and that's the thing, because what it used to be before is a lot of people would step into something expecting to take from it, and that's when you get shut down. So it's like, yo, especially in music, man, it's like, yo, put me on, or y'all don't support me, or like, yo, I'm dope. It's like, all right, bro, we're all dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, everybody raps. You know what I mean? Like, who are you as a person? Like, what? And if you just have good energy and you just vibe, like I've seen people come to my events or like listen to my shows and just like be at stuff, and they're just, I couldn't tell you what they do. They're just cool people, and I see them all the time. And then we'll have a conversation and I'll be like, oh yeah, and I know. And I'm like, oh word. And like, it's just being a good person. You know what I mean? Like, so when you're speaking from a, yo, nobody's doing nothing for me, nobody's supporting me, that makes me feel like you have a handout and you want to take something without giving. You're not watering the soil, you just want the fruit.
Yeah, facts.
You feel me? Like,
that's a good way to put it. Give me some background on that, because I see that everywhere too.
Bigger person?
They're from
man.
They're based out here, like from out here.
Yep, one of the biggest brands, if not the biggest right now.
I think so. I see it everywhere out here.
Yeah, they're everywhere, dog. They just opened a new store out in Park Meadows. There's one out here in Rhino. But yeah, my guys Nico's, Julian, Drick. Shouts to y'all. It's a brand, man. It's like they say, the most basic concept, be a good person. But you'll see it everywhere, bro.
I know, I do see it everywhere. I can't front.
Yeah, and they're very similar to Tiff and Gab, where you probably don't know who's behind it. It's just the brand speaks. But when you ask, they're like, oh yeah, that's them.
Yeah, because that's exact. Like if you don't know Tiff and, I think there was another girl too who started Vibes.
Yeah.
But she moved to New York. I mean, she moved home.
Yeah.
Is she from New York or was she from out here?
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of tapped in with them after that situation. But yeah, man, it's movers and shakers out here everywhere, man.
Yeah. So do you still make beats?
Yes and no, bro. I'd be a liar to say yeah, because I don't to the extent that I really want to. But it's just like I really want to again. It's just life and everything we were talking about earlier of managing, and so much stuff fell to the wayside, but I can't escape music. So beat making and DJing is like really what I want to get back to for real, man.
Do you, when you're on the station, do you DJ? No,
I don't. It's more so I'm literally just producing, digital production, interviews and stuff like that. But yeah, man, if I had to just be like, yo, I'm gonna stop doing certain things so I can get back to something I really love, is beat making and DJing.
And what do you use to make beats?
I used to use Fruity Loops, and I used to have my little MPC, and you know I was just in it. Sampling was big for me. I'm a soul head. I feel like we gotta talk music a little bit, bro, because like
that's why I transitioned.
I seen your taste in music. I'm like, all right, bro, tapped in.
Yeah. I'm hip.
I see the Dilla time. Yeah.
Shout out to one of my coworkers gave me that book to read. Yeah. Love Dilla. It was crazy. I was telling someone recently how I transitioned with music. When you're young, you know, you kind of like just follow what's hot.
Yeah.
So I grew up in New York, so that was hot for a minute, and then the South started invading and making things hot. So then I like my sound went towards like that sound with the rolling hi hats and 808s and stuff. Yeah. And then I finally just got to music's just not in a place that current music is not in a place that I currently like, and I think that helped me push me back to my roots on like what got me into making beats and stuff, which was like, you know, drum breaks and chopping samples.
Yep.
And that's all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
Just sound wise, like I can't see myself making any other beat.
Yeah, nah, man. I realize that my ear, people always say I have an old soul, because like I listen to like soul music, bro. Like I love soul music, and that's my biggest inspiration when I was making beats was like Kanye, Dilla, Just Blaze, of course, the Runners. You know what I mean? That sound, that big sound. I was listening to some old Dipset on the way here. Just that big sound of sampling.
Heatmakers.
Heatmakers. That Chipmunk soul.
Yep.
But then also just like, you know, that Ninth Wonder vibe and Little Brother. And now I'm at a point where I'm 37. So
we're kind of the same age. You're 3 years older than me.
Yeah. So my age like is kind of reflecting my ear now. Whereas like I really don't care to consume 808s all day, bro. I don't want trap music in my car. Like,
you know where I struggle with that? I'm the same way, and I have 808 tattooed on me, and it's like, damn, I don't feel the same way about that no more.
And that's not to say don't implement it, but you know that heavy, that frequency. People use that word as a buzzword now, but it's literally frequency. My ear just doesn't want it anymore. It's like, yo, I want to chill. I've always been heavy on lyricism, and just like you have to have some substance in your lyrics. I want to hear you talk about something, but now I just listen to music for music, bro. I listen to like a lot of non-vocal tracks and just like jazz loops, and I'm just like a musical guy. And it's hard. Shouts to The Drop with the urban alternative sound, because that's kind of what they're leaning towards too. But it's hard to find sounds like that right now that just appeal to my ear. Like you still got your people that been doing it, your Coles and and then like you get the refreshing sound from people from TDE, and you know, like it's just hard to find that pocket of like soul. It's a lot of soulless music, bro. It's just algorithm music now.
Breaks my heart. You know, a lot of I'm tapped in right now. It's maybe even for a little over a year or so, but just only listening to Brazilian music. That's all I listen to.
Yeah.
And like, cause I like, and then I hear something like, oh, taking that.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta put me on, man.
Yeah.
But I just like instrumentation and just feeling emotion, and it's like, I think up until like Kendrick and Drake started, it was like emotionless. Like you'll hear songs, like I was looking back on my rap list for Spotify, like what I was listening to, and I was like, I forgot that I liked albums because it just came and it was just like, that's fire. It's
comes
cool.
and goes.
And then boom, and then I'll turn like Lil Brother back on or something. It came in 09, and it's just like, it's because there's so much soul in that sound, and that's why I like the 60s and 70s. Just like, bro, I could feel your passion in this music. It's not much of that anymore, man.
Not at all. Like, you know, High Tech.
Yep.
That song Quali.
Yep.
I like. He's a good producer. But I got the Brazilian sound from Madlib.
Okay.
All the like Madlib beats I like. I'm like, what is that? And you find out, I'm like, oh, and then he has like the Brazilian sessions. If you ever look into, he got them things on YouTube. And like, all right, he was tapped into Brazil, and I love the like. Also like ballet funk, which is from Brazil. You know, ballet funk is like that. Cha. So I love that.
It sounds, bro. It sounds, they evoke emotions, and you know, like I'm a boom bap head, so you know, Alchemist and Conductor, and
but she's like Alchemist is on Alchemist and Conductor, but Alchemist is like on his second run in life.
Yeah,
which is
he
crazy.
Definitely had a revival, and it's funny, man, because I don't want to credit that to Griselda because like he was a conduit to that, but I felt like there was a little pocket where Griselda really brought the feeling back.
I agree, hands down.
Just period. And like Alchemist was tied to that. So like he ran with that wave and was just like, all right, if y'all tired of Griselda, I still got this sound. And you know, applied it to like Freddie Gibbs and all that. And like,
everybody's rocking with
now bro's just on a
Larry
run.
June too.
Larry June. Yeah, he's in there, but I'm glad you vibe with that, man. And I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, I always use the term hip hop is for grown-ups. Because I'm noticing that like cats are like, it's not even on no old head. Back in my day, my music was better. It's just like even the new cats that have the old sound are performing better amongst the younger crowd. It's like, it's just, they want music.
Facts.
Yeah.
The sound that it's all, I also get a little rubbed the wrong way too with like modern music because like the context of the music and like how these labels are just like pushing this on the kids, and I mean they push it on us. Like think about like gangster rap. Like they was OD pushing that onto us. You know what I mean? And it's like it helped people from our community come up and get up out. But it's also like y'all like the message now is crazy, especially with like like back then it was like, yo, you was selling drugs. That was the cool thing. Now it's like now you using drugs, and it's like, whoa, this is wild. Yeah,
and you know what's funny, man? It's like that doesn't last, and so. Again, it's not even coming from like an old head perspective because, you know, my oldest son is 17 and I'm watching him just culturally. We're in a space right now where we're just overall more conscious as people. We know when something is being driven to us. So like even back then, man, we were young, gangster rap and all that. Like I'm a huge G Unit fan. I'm never gonna lie. Like the Locks, all that.
Facts.
So like, please don't get it twisted. As much all the positivity and all that. Like I'm still listening. What up, gangster?
That's facts. Like, hands down.
I'm an adult, so I grasp the concept that this is entertainment. This is art. This was 50. You know what I mean? Like that was that. You get these. There was that pocket of like the mumble rap and like the perks and all that where. It was kind of like, yo, impressionable minds don't know the difference. They think this is what you're supposed to do. But now we're moving into a zone where these young dudes are just like, that's whack. Like they understand that ain't even cool. They don't even want that.
Fire.
So they're listening to, you know, JID and IDK and like Doechii, and that's booming. If you look at the streams and analytics and all that, those artists are outperforming these dudes that are clearly being pushed by the label. That ain't working.
It's true. I agree. Even my nephew's 16, and my nephews, they don't listen to like the modern day stuff. They always talk about like, yo, they listen to the music we grew up on. I'm like, or
something that sounds like it. Yeah, and I'm like, there's a reason behind that, man. This feels fake. It looks doofy right now.
You listen to Corday? Corday's someone too. I feel like he'll be pushing.
Corday's fire.
Lyrical.
There's a bunch of them, man. It's just, I don't know. It's a bunch of them, but it's just like, it's always been, we used to say underground, but it's always just been hidden gems that you got to dig for. And like, that's how I always know a music head, because I'm like, yo, you listen to blah, blah, blah. But then you go look at the streams, it's like, yo, this artist got 9 million plays a month. Like somebody else is listening to this joint too.
A lot of people. Yeah. I wish I could show you in the closet over there.
Yeah.
I have all the G Unit mixtapes from like DJ Who Kid.
That was a defining era.
Yeah, the DJ Clue mixtapes. I have all, like, that was just such a big impact to me. Those that era of music, bro. When you could go get the bootlegs on CD. I used to be hyped to get the bootlegs.
Yep.
And now it's just, I mean, I guess streaming is the bootleg now.
I guess,
just free access to the music.
But also with that, it's something to be said about just having something tangible. That's why I collect vinyl, because feeling like I have the music, literally I have it. I don't know, that does something for me. It's just like, and we respected music a little bit more back then, like when you're taking your time to burn the CDs or you had to go buy it. Like now it's just like, yo, it pops up, it's in your phone, just like everything else in the world. It's like, all right, cool.
So you don't appreciate it as much?
You don't appreciate it, man. It's like, it's not a physical thing. It's
word. Man.
Yeah.
So you DJ then?
Yeah, I'm not a DJ, but like in my leisure, like I know how to DJ, and I've kept it that way on purpose, because I never like really wanted to do shows and all that. It's just like, I just like curating dope blends and stuff like that, just because I'd be like, yo, this is sound fire. And I do it personally just for myself. So yeah.
And then you say you do events?
Yeah.
I know you did a little holiday event recently. What was that?
Yeah. So I did the Jammy Jam. That's just like my annual Christmas sing-along. But just coming up under all the promoters, man, and them kind of being my OGs, like I've always dabbled in events, but never like no for real promoter. Like, you know, I'll host events, I'll do stuff monthly. But yeah, man, that's just more so just, I like the energy. Again, that's back to being outside. I feel alive when I can physically just be out there and like, yo, the new Kendrick came out and I want to hear it on the big speakers with the people. You know what I mean? It's just a whole different.
See how they respond to it.
Yeah, but I've always dibbled and dabbled, because I never wanted to fall in that pocket of being a promoter for real, because that life is just, that ain't my vibe.
Yeah. I can't. We used to, when we, like in my early 20s, me and my boys used to throw parties in New York, but it's like, how do you maintain that as you get older, you know, and like got other responsibilities? And
then I see the people that do, man, it's just like, you have to evolve at some point. You know, shout out to my guys like with 3 Deep, they've evolved, they're owning clubs, and like there has to be an evolution. You can't just be the promoter that was promoting in the 90s that's just like the old dude at the club now. Like that looks crazy.
Facts.
Like, don't do
that's that. That's why I don't really go out either.
Yeah.
Because the only spots I know out here be like kind of the younger spots. So I'm like, what am I doing here? This shorty look mad young. It's probably inappropriate for me to talk to you. And the conversation we gonna have anyways is gonna be way different, because I'm at a I just have more life experience and I'm growing a little more. Not to play her because she's just younger, you know.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I was that same phase.
Bro. Like I mean, I'm clubbed out, man. I was in the club way before I should have been in the club.
Yeah.
So it's I'm big on doing things for people my age, because I do feel like this pocket and like, you know, like the millennial and a little bit under is an overlooked market, because people always want to go for, oh, it's a young man's game, you got to go for the youngsters, or like the older people like have their set ways. But like, we know what we like, bro. Like how we're sitting here discussing this sound, and like we do an event called the R&B Brunch. Shouts to my partner Chris, and it's just a vibe. Like we're chilling, you know. Like it's kind of like vibes in the park. It's just, we know what our age likes, and we need to cater to that. Content wise, sound wise, it's just like, yo, we don't have to turn up all the damn, we don't want to, yo. We want to do day parties, we want to kick it, we want to hear each other over the music. You know what I mean? I want to hear some boom bap in the back while I'm chilling, maybe drinking some wine or some classy shit. Like, so I play into that big time, and I think a lot of people our age should do that, because we need variety. We don't need everybody to be the club, man. We don't want to go to the club.
Where are you familiar with Vino at the Trunk?
Yeah.
I don't know. Gabby put me onto them.
Yeah.
But I sacrificed to get this. The past 2 years, I've sacrificed every Saturday to work, and now in February, I'm finally getting my Saturday evenings back.
Yep.
So, tell me a little bit about that. I'm mad curious. I feel like it's an embodiment of what we love.
It's exactly what we're talking about. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. I always miss it. Because, you know, Saturdays, dad stuff, soccer.
Yeah, I
get
it. Yeah.
Saturdays are mad tough for me. So I like the homies always like, bro, you drink wine, you gotta come to Vino. And like I be watching like, how did I miss that? But it's another one of those.
They paint, they drink wine, they have music, right?
Yeah,
I got it. I know.
It's just a meet up on the block, but it's one of those things we're talking about, like how those pillars, like it's one of those.
Yeah, I know. I want to make it the one.
Yeah,
because that's just like a lot of things I like. I like paint. I do like wine. If I'm gonna drink anything, it's probably gonna be wine.
Yeah,
and just good music.
Yeah. It's dope, man.
Dope. I don't want to eat up too much of your time. I know you probably got things to do. Anything you want to ask me or anything you want to tell the people? You probably gonna be up here more, just so you know. We gotta have more conversations.
I'm with it, man. We're gonna do some stuff. Yeah. Trust that. I don't have anything specific, man. Like again, I wanna show you love. I'm big on like appreciating things and people in the moment. I've seen your platform before you even reached out. I was a fan of what you're doing, just visually, concept wise, and just how you're moving. And I'm big on telling people that because it's been situations where, you know, I've advanced and I started getting awards and like I've met like a certain level in people's minds of like, oh, graffiti's up here. And I like, you know, y'all wasn't with me shooting in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, and so when it's like, oh yeah, I've been rocking with, it's like, bro, you weren't though. And so like, when I'm telling you like, yo, I seen Sekular from when you first posted that joint, I don't know how, but I seen it and I started rocking with it.
Thank you.
And I'm like, that's dope, man. And we have to tell people that because I really wish back then somebody had been like, yo, Graffiti, I see what you're doing. Keep going, bro. Like, or like, how can I assist you? And how can we build together versus me just thinking I need to just spearhead everything alone all the time. Because that is what kind of gets you, that's what deters a lot of creatives, man. It's like, yo, we're doing this dope thing. Ain't nobody watching it. And like, don't nobody care about this. And it's like, no, little do you know, bro, there are people watching you, but they're just not saying that. And it's like, I'd rather be like, nah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I recently just got put on you, but I do like, that's why I had to tap out. I was like, reach out because it's just like, nah, you're a staple in the city and I could see that. And it's important to me to touch base with the city and the roots and not just feel like I'm infiltrating and like trying to just take over with, I don't know, that bothered. And the reason why I think I do that, because coming from New York, that happened in like, New York got OD gentrified and I felt like a lot of people did that to us. And it was like, that's kind of why I moved out of New York in a way. So it's just like, I don't want to go somewhere and do the same thing that made me feel some type of way. I feel like that's not love. So I appreciate that, man. And
I respect that because I've seen, like, my bad, we about to I've seen that happen in real time, you know, where bigger production companies or just anybody, man. Like I've seen like Vice and I've seen the names come out here and do that. It's like, yo, weed is legal in Colorado, or yo, we heard about blah 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 happening in Colorado, let's go get on that. And it's like, you guys did not contribute or tap in or nothing with the actual scene here.
I seen what you said about, I've seen Vice do that.
Yeah.
Especially what you mean
them specifically.
Here.
Like, and there's other platforms that do that. They craft this look and they craft this narrative of what Colorado is. And sometimes it's dope. It's just like, but y'all didn't really ask Colorado. You know what I mean? And it's like, we've been waiting for that. Like, man, that would have been fire if Vice would have been like, hey, who's the people that are actually doing what we're about to come do in Colorado so they can contribute to this? That'd have been fire, man.
Yeah. Vice. Do you remember when they had like Viceland? Oh, I loved Viceland.
Me too. I love Viceland.
And I don't think it's a thing anymore. But that's where I got a lot of like inspiration from. Was just like they would just have that minimal marketing. They almost stole from like Adult Swim in a way though.
They did.
You ever see like Adult Swim with just the simple little things?
But it worked. And they had like this guerrilla look. Like I that's why I named Vice off the top because it peeved me so bad because I loved Viceland. And I was just like, man, like, little do you guys know that we really aspire to be Viceland with a lot of what we're individually doing.
Facts.
Put us on, you know what I mean? Versus coming out here and just doing that, man. So
they don't do that. But you know, I'm learning to just accept that, still love on them, but just keep moving. And I know God gonna take care of us.
Absolutely.
Well, yo, bro, thanks for coming on.
Love,
God bless you. We're gonna be talking more. If they wanted to follow you, if anyone sees us, they want to follow you.
At That's Graffiti on all platforms. It's simple, yo. That'sgraffiti.com, Instagram, Facebook.
That's your YouTube too? Perfect.
YouTube, just at That's Graffiti. It's easy.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll holla at y'all. One.